guys suck.
Uh,
But I know better than that. We don't suck.
we don't suck.
Not all the time. I have my days, you know.
We are
where I'm
consistently
on the,
mediocre.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's
It's all about
passing.
consistency, baby.
Yeah. C's get degrees. I've lived my whole life by
It's
that.
all about consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
I lived that way until my final semester, when apparently 3 Fs don't pull through for you.
Yeah, where was that in the fine print? I didn't see that anywhere. I thought you just had to go to class.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
dang it.
Turns out, even if you even just attend class and don't do anything, you will get better than an F. That's how you know that you did not go to school. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I had that same issue. It only took me about 6 years to get a degree, something like that. I was a slow learner. I wasn't ready for school.
I found my breaking point. Like I kind of always thought, I was like, well, I can do anything I put my mind to, which I think is a healthy mindset to have. But then at the same time, I like bit off more than I could chew, like in a real way. And like I was an RA, and when you sign up to be an RA, there's a form that you sign that says like, I agree to not be a student athlete, not have a job off campus, not try other external pursuits, not have an internship, like all of these things. I did every single one of those my last semester of college. And I was like, oh, so there's a reason that they tell you not to do any of these things, because when your plate is overheaping, you can't consume everything to the degree that is going to be effective. And so basically, instead of doing any one thing well, I crumbled and did all of the things horribly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's understandable, though. Same. You're trying to adjust to the new life.
I just wasn't taking care of. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't taking care of business at all. Like I like I said, I tried to do too much. I was working at a gym. I opened the gym every morning at 4:30 a.m.
Oh.
So I had a desk job as well. So I would get done at my desk job at 12 a.m. midnight. I would sleep for 4 hours. I would go open the gym. I would go to my 8 o'clock class as soon as I was done at the gym. I would try to take a nap, maybe eat lunch, and then go to practice, go to rodeos, like trying to do just everything. And I was like, yeah, just had
too much.
not like a mental, I didn't have like a breakdown or like, a meltdown of any kind, but I just couldn't handle all of the work that I was trying to ask myself of. It just couldn't happen. There was no possible way to make it happen.
And at what, like 18 years old? You have no systems in place to handle anything like that. It's just like kind of getting thrown to the wolves. And so you're trying to do the most, trying to like compensate for what we're lacking at that age. And then it's not like you say you didn't break. I think you get to that point where it's like, screw it. Like I'm over it. I would rather do nothing than to address this right now. So I can, dude, I can relate to that in a big way.
Yeah.
In a big way.
So instead of like exactly what you said, instead of trying to reconcile those things and like try to get out of some of these commitments, like, in a professional way, it was more like, I'm just not going to do anything.
Yeah. I'd rather just chill.
Yeah. Deuces.
Done.
See you.
I can guarantee that story has been told the same way by a million people. Like I was the same way, dude. You're not the only one. I bet there's a million.
Dude, it's probably the greatest life lesson. Stuff. Like
1,000%.
At this point in my life, like it keeps me from having the paper on my wall that says I graduated, but at the same time, it's propelled me like so much further because I realized that in order to do something efficiently, like I'm gonna have to say no to other things, and I need to prioritize my time. And I need to prioritize myself. Like my own health has to come first because you can't pour from an empty cup. So. The life lessons that I drew from that were enormous, but at the time it was like kind of devastating, a hard pill to swallow. It's like, I remember my dad got the email like 2 days after, because I walked at graduation because I didn't realize what my grades were actually going to be. I kind of had an inkling maybe in the back of my head, but I didn't know how things were actually going to pan out. So I walked at graduation, and then like 3 days later, I was at the gym working out, and my dad texted me and was like, hey, I just got an email that said you didn't graduate. I was like, oh yeah, I got that email too.
Oh no. Oh no, dude.
So
That
you
stung.
you got to walk with no diploma. I got the diploma, but I didn't walk. So we could, like, if we combine both of our experiences, we would have the full college experience.
Yeah.
It took me 5 years to get my diploma, and I haven't used it for a single day since then. So there you go.
Yeah. See, that's the worst part. Is like
Same.
I pay for it. I've got all the knowledge. I absorbed everything. I have all of it. I have exactly what I needed or what I needed to get from it. Just no paper to show for it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things. It's like, is the paper worth it? There's certain things like, maybe if I wanted to, get my CSCS, then yeah, like I'll have to go get that piece of paper. But I don't think that would be an issue now, especially having some experience behind me. It would be a lot easier to take those classes.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. And it goes way better because you're much more mature. Like I wasn't ready for school, and so when I finally was committed to it and able to, like, I was ready to learn. I wasn't ready to learn when I graduated. I didn't even want to go to school. I just went because everyone did. And so when I went back, when I was been through some life and some steep learning curves, and when I went back, it was just so much more enjoyable because I was ready to take that step. I was ready to dive in and learn and get this degree. And to this day, I don't use the degree at all. I have an agricultural business degree, maybe a little bit of the business stuff. But what did happen in college was I had two professors that were my favorite ever, and one taught sales and one taught entrepreneurial skills, and they were the reason that I started the gym. I came to them with the idea, and they literally sat me down, helped me write a business plan for it. I worked at a restaurant all through college, and so the guy who owned the restaurant was an extremely successful entrepreneur, had done this his entire life, and I guess kind of saw that in me and really helped me figure out how to get a loan, like how to make it all work. And all of a sudden I had my first business when I was 24. It was like, I learned a lot in college. I met a lot of good people, and I wouldn't be where I am without those two particular people. So for me, like, it was all worth it, even though I don't use the degree. And also worth it. Like, I've had to go back to school for certifications. Like me and Logan just got his CSCS. I just barely missed getting mine. I'm still studying to go take it again. And dude, that brought up a whole other tray of things. I was like, I forgot how bad my test anxiety is. I am a wreck when it comes to taking tests. I got in there and I was like, this does not feel good. I don't like this at all.
Well, for so long, that's what we've been told, right? Is that the answer is college. If you have to go to college, if you're going to be successful, you graduate and you go to college. And so then we spit out these people that are 22, 23 years old. They have a $50,000 degree and they're $50,000 in debt, and there are no jobs available, or it sets them off on the wrong foot. There's scholarships, and there are people that get school paid for, but for so many people, they go to school and now we're trying to start our professional career behind the eight ball. We're in debt already. And Lacey and I have talked about it. And I mean, we've started a little fund. We want to help with our kids' education, but not pay for it completely. Lacey's school was completely paid for. Her parents helped for what she didn't get in scholarships. I didn't get a dime from my parents. We just weren't in a position where they could help. And so we come from both ends of the spectrum, and we want to try to meet somewhere in the middle. But we've both talked about, man, if Cannon or if Conley, if they graduate high school and they're interested in going to learn how to weld, go do a trade, like, hey, then they've got some money to be able to get set up on their first welding rig or something like that. Like, or how can we, or if they're going to rodeo, like, man, we got some money. If they're talented enough and we feel like the time's right, we've got some money to be able to help them get down the road for a year or two on their rookie card or whatever it might be. Yeah. But I'm not in a position where I'm like, no, you're getting a bachelor's degree. A bachelor's degree, we've learned, is not the key to success in life.
No. Well, here's my personal opinion. Might be shared by some, might be controversial, but like, I think college in general, apart from just a few different degrees, like maybe a lawyer or a doctor, I think college in general is going to be obsolete in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yes, I will agree with that.
Even a thing.
I will agree. The value has decreased so much. It's not worth the bang for the buck. You're not getting what the college experience was. Now you have it at a place where they're trying to forgive all student debt, which I understand because there is so much, because we've all been baited into that idea that you have to go to college right after high school, even if you don't have the money. And then all of a sudden we've taken out, like Logan's saying, freaking $100,000 over 4 years to go. And then, dude, I don't like when most people get out of college, like at that age, 21, 22 years old, you still don't know that much about life. You still have so much to get figured out.
Nothing.
And to enter the world 100,000 down is like, it seems insurmountable to me for someone at that. You know, I can't imagine what it feels like.
You'd be lucky to be making that much a year.
Oh yeah, 50, 60,
Like,
70,000.
You're gonna be
I
one of the
even
the
half
1%
of that
if
my
you're the
first
one that
5
lands a
years.
job. No. Yeah.
Oh, dude,
But you
for
go
sure.
to a trade school,
Yep.
you graduate,
Yep.
you come out of trade school debt free,
Yep.
you could be making $100,000 right off the bat.
Yep.
Hello.
And you're working at, you're not going to college for trade school for 4 years. You're going for what? Year and a half? 2 years?
Yeah,
maybe?
2 years. You're
And
set
then
up. By the
hitting
time you're
road at
20, 21, you're set up and entering your career path. Yep, absolutely. You're ready to rock and roll. My first job was running an indoor facility there at Murray State. First full-time job, graduated, was the quote-unquote operations supervisor, and the gross pay was $24,000 a year. Let me tell you, by the time Uncle Sam gets his collection out of it, you can't raise, and now, mind you, that was, I mean, we're coming up on 10 years ago. Things have changed a little bit, but it's just insane to think that up to that point, I had spent 40 something $1,000 to get there, to get a job that grossed half that a year. Anyway, we're still paying off student loan debt, and it's going to be a thing for probably another 5 years, and all because, like you guys have said, I thought that this is the direct path. Now, with that being said, I completely agree that the connections and the networking and the people that I met, I mean, there were people that forever changed the course of my life that I probably would not have met. Yes, completely agree. But the education, not so much.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even gone. I didn't realize that college radio was even a thing until like my sophomore or junior year of high school. And so once I found that out, then I was like, okay, like I'll dabble. Like, but even going in, like I had, no, like I wanted a rodeo. Like I had no plan B. Like that was it. That was the only thing my mind was thinking on. And, but yeah, the connections are invaluable. Like I met you in college, Logan, and my best friends, 3 of the guys.
And your life was forever altered negatively.
Yes,
that's one of those. One of those definitely wasn't worth the money. Definitely wasn't worth the money to meet this guy that just dropped dirt clods in my fresh cup of coffee. Throw stuff at me and tells jokes all the time at my expense. Yeah, you definitely could have gone without that for sure. Without a doubt.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, it's. I think we're not. I'm not. We're not shitting on college. I think it's if you know what you want to do and you have goals that you need a degree, absolutely. I think what more of this conversation was about, like, if you feel that pressure to go and you're not ready, I just have a plan. And even if you need a year or two, like, dude, I think. Man, guys especially are not mature at that age. Like, it would be okay to take a couple years and, dude, go do a trade school. Go get a trade done. Go get that on your belt. You're like, hey, that was cool. I enjoyed learning. Maybe this trade isn't for me. Let's go to college. Cool. Go college. Go college rodeo. Do all that. And like, college rodeo is an incredible way to pay for your education. I mean, we're not, like I said, not hating on it at all. I was just thinking, and it sounds like we were all kind of in the same boat. We were not mentally prepared or like ready. We weren't mature enough at that age. I will say it straight up. Like, I just wasn't. And to be honest,
absolutely.
23, 24 is where I really felt like, oh, this is good. Like I'm happy to be here and learning and doing this. Right. So should have listened to my gut.
Yeah.
And not my parents. But
Dylan Hancock is a great example of that. as far as rodeo goes, Dylan, and if you guys listening to this haven't heard of him yet, you probably will soon, but he went to the permit finals last year, foolishly bought his permit again this year, but he'll be on his rookie card next year. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes to the finals. But he was one that went to college, wasn't going to go to college, and went to Clarendon College and got a welding certificate. But when he rode well, a lot of self-taught saddle bronc riding over here, and he's from Illinois, Southern Illinois. He went to Clarendon College, and while he was there, he got the tools that he needed to be a professional saddle bronc rider. And
Brett Franks is the
dramatically
coach
changed.
there?
It just gave him all those little. Yep, Brett Franks is the coach there, and he put him in a different saddle, got him on adequate practice horses, and it was a deal where, man, okay, so it is a 2-year school, and he was able to go, and I would assume, had got school paid for. I don't know his financial situation, but I'm going to assume that, and he came out on the other side of it. Now he has a welding certificate, so he's got something to fall back on. He can go weld if he needs to, but he came out on the side of it ready to rodeo. He's ready to go. He can compete with the best in the world because of the mentorship that he got from Brett Franks and the other guys that were there in school. So that's an example. We've kind of all shared our examples of like why it wasn't a good idea. There's an example of why potentially college rodeo especially could definitely help transform your game.
Absolutely. And I'll say right now, if you're a bronc rider, bareback rider, and you're looking for like that trade school or not ready for the 4-year commitment, look up Brett Franks, look up Clarendon College, because that man he'll turn you into a better cowboy in person for sure. He's one of my favorite guys to be around. I absolutely value that relationship with him. So any guys listening or girls, check them out. Like, great rodeo team. They're competitive. They take care of business, and Brett's the man when it comes to coaching. Absolutely agree with that, man. Yeah,
absolutely is.
Like there's great things for everything, right? And like I said, I think I was just more talking about like the right out of high school thing. It's just the myth of like, you got to go to school. And I think even more in today's world, it's like, I think we're seeing that you don't have to. We're seeing guys and girls that are very successful entrepreneurs at 25, 26 years old, making millions a year. So it's doable. And I think the world is on a little bit of a shift that way, which I think is awesome. I think college used to be like that thing that you prove that you could finish something, right? Like your businesses, corporations want to make sure you can stick it out and do the work, and the world's just different now. So if anyone's listening or got
Champion Living doesn't care. We hired Paul.
Yeah, apparently.
You barely gotta have. You just have to attempt it at a degree. That's all you got to do. You have to have enrolled in school at once. That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Oh man, there was something I was going to say. Oh, the good aspect of going to college right after high school. But it doesn't have to be college. It could be anything. I think one of the most valuable things that I took away was leaving my home state when I turned 18. That was big. Because you were forced to learn life lessons. And so, like I said, like I took away so many life lessons from college. Like, my time in college was not wasted by any means. But I could have done that in a different way too. It didn't have to be in college. Like, I could have done something else. I think there's some type of like brotherhood and fraternity that comes from being on a college radio team that is also invaluable. And so, like I said, 3 of the guys that stood up at my wedding were on my rodeo team. So it's like, I mean, lifelong friendships were made there. Yeah. And so I can't discount the fact that, I can't say that the time was not worth it, because it absolutely was. But, like you said, if you're not ready for a 4-year commitment and to go in debt, like if you're not financially secure there, like there's ways to do that. And I think doing a technical school that has a rodeo program as well. Like, there's plenty of those. Like, you can go to 2-year community colleges that have rodeo programs. Some of them that I know of, I think Iowa Central, if you are an in-state student, they have free technical programs, or like, very, very inexpensive technical programs, and you can rodeo at the same time. Like, there's opportunities out there, but you definitely got to do your homework. And that just kind of goes back to the 18-year-old thing, is like, you're probably not ready to do that type of planning at that point in your life. But yeah, I mean, there's studies out now, like your prefrontal cortex isn't even developed until you're 25. Like, like
Hence
you don't
why I
even
felt
stop
way better at that
making
age.
horrible decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you'll still make horrible decisions. Guarantee it. I can
You'll still make
guarantee
bad
you'll still
decisions
go
for
make 'em.
sure, but
Golly.
like you don't.
That doesn't even stop
you make
after
them and
30.
don't even realize it before then.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. That's a fact. You're like, what did I do wrong? Why did life just hit me
at
so
least
hard in the
Like,
face there?
Yeah, at least now you know the stove is hot. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
before you like touched
You
the
know
stove, you got
damn
burned,
well
and you
what
weren't
you're
sure.
doing.
But at least now you know for sure the stove is hot. I'm gonna get burned, but that's a pretty good looking stove. I'm gonna touch it.
Oh, yeah.
And so then you're like, yeah, that was dumb. The next day you're like, that was dumb. I should not
yeah.
have touched the stove.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, guess what? You're like, man, that stove's looking pretty good. You know, so anyway, yeah, it doesn't stop you from making bad decisions, but it definitely. Yeah, at least you know.
Your perspective might be different, at least.
Yeah, your perspective is definitely different. That is for sure.
At 18, all I could think about, or when we were talking about this, I think we should have like a theme song for this episode. And it's just that we don't need no education. It's just playing in my head over and over. We really aren't college-aters, I swear.
funny.
We're just giving our opinions.
Yeah. But here's another point that I was kind of thinking about is that there's been times where I've thought about, what I do now. I have the best job in the world. I love and I wish that I would have found this or just done this right out of high school or right out of college. I could have gone into exercise science. Maybe I could have gotten some sort of personal training certificate right out of high school, and I could have studied this. And then I think about the years that I would have under my belt of experience. But, Lacey brought up a point. I said something. I'm like, man, I wish that I would have. She said, you needed the life lessons. I firmly believe that I needed to be a college rodeo coach before I was ready to do this job. I needed the relationships. If I hadn't have gone to college, I probably never would have had my PRCA permit or card. If I would have never had my PRCA permit or card, I never would have met Doug rodeoing. Like, my life would be crazy different.
Yeah.
So it's easy to look back and say, well, I should have done this from the very beginning. But I firmly believe that it all works out the way it's supposed to. If maybe you're listening to this and it's your senior year, you just started college and you're like, maybe I made a mistake, or maybe I can tell you this. I firmly believe that if you're working as hard as you can at whatever it is that you might be doing, in 10 years, you're going to be like, aha, okay, I can connect the dots now. I see kind of why I went through some of that stuff and why I did that. And now it's set me up to be a better coach because of the experiences I had when I wasn't doing what I'm doing now.
Dude, I think that's one of the reasons we're all such good coaches now, is that we're able to reflect on some of the hardships that we've kind of put ourselves through and had to learn those hard lessons. And dude, I love talking to our younger athletes, and younger, I mean like in their early 20s, and they're, we're just talking about life. And that's a lot of what our job is kind of life coaching a little bit. But getting to give them that insight into, hey, dude, I know exactly where you are. And I'll literally describe it. Like, this is how you're feeling. This is what's going on. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's normal. That's cool. Like, that's totally fine. We all did the same shit, like same thing. And I was like, and best thing, bro, you're still not going to have it figured out in another year or two. Like, it's still going to be, it's like, and like, I think if anyone could take anything away from this whole thing, is like, it's okay to not know everything right now, and you won't. And it's just a misconception that the world has given us, that we're supposed to know exactly what we want to do, how to do it by the age of 18. It's not fathomable. So anyone listening, don't worry, we're all lost. It's figuring it out one day at a time.
It's the blind leading the blind here. We're just figuring it out as we go.
That was not the motivational punchline I was expecting.
I know, I wanted.
Oh, I can
like, I was like, that's not what
world's
you were
on
thinking.
fire.
How you're gonna hear, was it? Yeah.
Yeah. But if you could win the lottery and do the exact same thing from that point on, your job wouldn't, like, you're probably on the right track. We were talking about that the other day, and some buddies of mine were like, man, I won the lottery, I would do this and I'd do that. We were headed to set up an arena. I wouldn't be setting up an arena, you know. I know I'd be doing this and I'd be doing that. And they were like, what'd you do? And I was like, I'd probably be sitting in this truck right here. I'm not doing this because of money. Like, I enjoy visiting with my friends and getting to be around rodeo. I love my job. Nothing would change. I would have no debt. I would have maybe nicer vehicles, and I'd have a much bigger house. But that would probably be the three things that would change. But other than that, so when you're looking and thinking about what am I going to do, who do I want to be, man, look for something that fulfills you apart from the money, apart from the paycheck. When you wake up, you're excited about what you get to go do, and maybe you have to do something that doesn't make you feel that way for a little while to be able to set yourself up to be able to do that at some point. But
that's a really good point.
Yeah, I feel like that's the dream, right? Is that like, man, I get to wake up and absolutely. There's definitely times where you got to go haul some trash, or you got to go work construction, or you got to go coach a rodeo team, or you got to run a gym, or you got to, like, we all have these past life experiences we look back on and we're like, man, that was tough. That was so hard, and I'm so thankful that I don't have to do that anymore. But we look back now, and that experience brought us to where we are now, and it set us up to be able to wake up, and I enjoy what I get to do for a living. You know, sometimes it wakes me up at night. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll like have to write down, make a note on my phone or something about an exercise that I was like, oh, dude. Oh, what about this for him? And I'm like, oh, I'll write it down. I can't wait to wake up in the morning and like try to figure out that piece of the puzzle or programming or whatever. Man, that's the dream, right? Is to be able to be that passionate about what you get to do every day, and the fact that we get paid for it. I can't get it. I tell clients I would do this for free. The fact that I get paid means we can help more people. Yeah. And so I think that's the dream, is to find something that wakes you up at night excited about it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, if you are if you're in that struggle period right now too, but you see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, like you understand that the step that you're in right now, though it may suck, like it is going to lead you to that next opportunity.
Yes.
Like you got to remember too that, you know, there's people out there that would kill to be in your spot, you know, like people would love to be on that path, even though it's not easy or it might not be fun. Like they don't even have the opportunity to pursue their dream or their goal. And so that's always a really humbling perspective, is like, you know, when I'm kind of dogging something because it feels like it's too difficult or, you know, too much or whatever, it's like, man, you got it pretty good.
Yeah.
Like,
could be 8 feet down a hole, freaking digging that sucker deeper still, you know, like this is way better than that. I remember when I first opened my gym, dude, like the first 3 years was just struggle. I worked at that thing from 4:30 a.m. till 8 p.m. and I would like take naps and stuff there because I'd have breaks between classes. But I'm talking about like cleaning that gym myself. It's a 3,000 square foot place, like just me. And I had a business partner, but he wasn't there a whole lot. I did that for 3 years, and like, you know, after all the bills are paid, I'm barely making my rent. I'm barely putting food on my plate, and it's a grind. And you just like embrace that suck, and eventually you learn so much from it and you get out of it. And I remember another transition phase was with this business. And when we started hiring coaches, like it's just a lot more as a business owner taking, I feel pressured to perform for you guys. Like you guys have families that depend on this. You know what I mean? It's like, for a while I felt a lot of pressure about that. And a really good friend of mine told me that pressure is a privilege. If you don't want any pressure, don't put yourself in those positions that are going to be the greatest accomplishments that any person can make if you don't want to feel that. Like to feel that is a blessing. If you don't want any pressure, not to be rude, but like you can go to McDonald's and work an 8 to 5 and get paid $20 an hour and go home and do your shit, you know? But like that pressure, once you flip that in your head, that that's a good thing. And that like, it brings the dog out in you, you know what I mean? That makes you fight for it and makes you realize while you're there. And dude, ever since I heard that, it's been years since he's told me that. And I still tell myself that to this day when I feel like a little anxiety or stuff. It's like, no, dude, that feeling, that gut feeling that doesn't feel very good. That's a good thing. Like that means you're on to something. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. So also, anyone out there that is dealing with that, just remember that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's, man, pressure is a privilege. That is, man, that should be title of this episode right there, baby. That sucker, man, it is so
Noted.
good to.
I'll make it happen.
Yeah. Take notes, Paul. It is definitely easy to. It's easy to take the road less traveled, right? And just, hey, I don't want people after me. I don't want to have to do things I don't want to do. And so then we just find people in this cycle of like, man, sometimes finding a job they can work, and then they quit or they get fired, and they just are in this cycle because they just can't handle any pressure. And all of life, if you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
It can't stick it out long enough. If you're going to be successful, you better get used to some pressure. That's a part of becoming a success, is applying pressure, making it better.
And sometimes pressure arises as gray hair. Oh shit!
That's fair.
So
That's
funny.
fair.
Guys,
you
I'm
have
just
gotten
thinking
significantly
here, though,
wider since I started working for you. I don't know if it's
we
for
got
me,
some
but
years
like
behind
we
us.
weren't.
Yes, it's definitely a correlation from Logan. Yeah.
It is. It's all Logan.
He'd still have brown hair if he never hired me. He could just have 12 people underneath of him, but it would still be normal colored.
Every time my phone goes off
there
at
was a
6:15,
period
Logan
when you were a
checking in
college
the
rodeo
morning, I
coach.
just grow a new gray hair. That's all that happens. It's like ding, and I look at my hair, just like, oh, another one's gray. Perfect.
Good morning. Another one's gray.
I was just thinking.
I think there's something to that because Logan used to.
Go ahead, Paul. Finish.
Logan used to not answer my phone calls, and my hair was perfectly brown, lush, thick hair, and now I talk to Logan on a daily basis, and I'm getting gray too. So I think maybe there is something.
That's because I actually value your opinion now. I used to not value your opinion, so I used to not really care what you think. So now I actually care what you have to say. So that's why I come to work.
Oh shit! But no, to wrap this thing up, though, I was just thinking this is gonna be our last episode, really, until like you guys are gonna listen to this the last of September, and we will be catching back up much more current. So there will be a little gap here. September, we're taking off. I have elk hunting trip, and I'm getting married, so we will have a lot of things to catch up on. And so this episode after this will be much more current. We'll be leading right into the NFR. Some big announcements coming with that, hopefully. So you guys will be able to stay tuned for that. We're really excited about everything that's coming up. And, I'll be a married man this next episode. So, guys, we'll got to thank our sponsors, as always. Beastmaster Rodeo Gear, man, the elite rodeo gear company, and not just the U.S., but I'd say the world. Check them out, beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code CHAMPIONLIVING, all one word, uppercase. It's going to save you 10% on all their gear and HOOEY brands. Oh, yeah. Also, check out that Habitat shirt. God, I love this gear. Check them out, HOOEYbrands.com. Champion Living, all one word, not case sensitive. Going to save you 10% on all that HOOEY gear. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later.